G'day guys, Jose here. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. Well, I have been, a lot of people have been saying this question in my chat about, rating, how Shadowlands Alpha looking for Demon Hunters. And I've been, really taking a great look at it. So I decided to go take a good look at it today. So let's get into it. So Immolation Aura being baseline, that was probably pretty much like, a guarantee what was going to happen in Shadowlands because, like, as you see in WoW, with Havoc Demon Hunters, everyone takes Immolation Aura. There's no other trait that's better than it. Like, getting pain, pain, even though it's tank's baseline. But Havoc, getting a Fury, which is massive for Immolation Aura, allows you to do more Chaos Strikes and stuff like that. And now, instead of paying that Fury as a resource, kind of figured that as well. They want to make it a bit simpler. I know people saying, they're putting back abilities in, but sometimes, making it simpler is a lot better. And I think Fury and Pain in these cases is probably the better option. So let's go with Blade Dance. Blade Dance, no changes. Other than, doesn't track all nearby enemies, only 5. Keeps 100% dodge chance. Blizzard did say they want to reduce the AoE abilities, so all of one class isn't taken, and Demon Hunters were a big perpetrator of this, where Demon Hunters were only purely brought because of their burst AoE, and their utility with Darkness and Chaos Nova, a few other things as well. But mainly the AoE with Demon Hunters, as Demon Hunters' single target isn't that great compared to other classes, but it's still decent. But the main reason was because of the AoE abilities, with Blade Dance, with Eye Beam, and a lot of other AoE abilities and AoE stun and metamorphosis that allowed them to really, first of all, get utility, second of all, do a lot of burst damage that a lot of other casters just can't do. Let's say, for example, my brother always craps on about Shaman's taking about, 6 seconds to ramp up their Earthquake and Chain Lightnings. Well, Demon Hunters, they just, like that, click of the fingers, bam, Eye Beam and Blade Dance, all in there, ready to go. Blur being nerfed, like the damage taken, going from 35% to 20%. Didn't actually expect to see that one coming. Did not see that one coming at all. So now it's a 20% DR. And it's quite a significant nerf defensively for Demon Hunters, as, to take more damage now. But I can understand why they did it, given that Demon Hunters are just, they're a bit tanky. Like, they can go for an off-tank. Like, you just take Blur and a Taunt during the Cotter Creeks, and that Havoc Demon Hunter can tank for quite a bit, I think it was shown in when I did my Battle of Dazra Law viewer runs for normal that I tanked was a King Rastakhan from 30% to 0 in Havoc with rotating blurs and blade dances, which is insane. So Chaos Nova, so basically Chaos Nova hasn't changed. It's just a rank 2 Riaz's effect, which is basically less of soul fragments. If you have demoniac or demonic appetite, you basically get all your Eye Beam back practically pretty much from Chaos Nova. It still stuns all enemies, no nerfs whatsoever. Chaos Strike, rank 2 removes the nerfs, and otherwise you get 40% back. So not much has changed. Consume Magic, still the same thing as well. Rank 2 being the one that gives you 20% Fury. And previously it used to drop a Soul Fragment, but good to see now it's just 20 Fury instead. Actually, no, I think the Consume Magic, let me just double check here on my bars. Consume, it gives you 10 to 20 pain regardless. But it used to give you a Soul Fragment. I don't think that Azerite trait has been brought in. Disrupt, still same pretty much. Disrupt gets the range and the thing. Nothing too much. So Eye Beam has changed. It still guarantees, still does crit strikes. And also scales up. But the thing is that the damage to secondary targets has been reduced instead of the primary targets being increased. So that's a kind of a nerf, but kind of expected with Eye Beam being one of those burst abilities that Demon Hunters did as well. Also got to notice as well that there's no Furious Gaze, no haste proc from Eye Beam. And, good to see that's been removed as Furious Gaze is like a much needed trait on everything. So Fel Barrage, they've removed the charge, so there's only one charge now. Definitely a good change, given that Mages got nerfed as well, the blink, and only going one blink. And I think they've started to nerf mobility overall, so not many classes going to have many mobility issues other than the melee classes, so maybe Warriors get one charge, I'm not terribly too sure either. So Immolation Aura basically causes fire damage to enemies within 8 yards, so you get the initial burst. Pretty much it's just Immolation as it is. Baseline, just rank 2 increases it. So Metamorphosis still keeps everything, but it also adds in the Chaotic Transformation trait, which was much needed, I'm going to say now. It makes the class a lot easier, as in, setting up your burst window. But at the same time, like, everyone goes, oh man, resets all your cooldowns, and you can put your burst window whenever and on demand. It's not necessarily so, because you want to make sure that your Eye Beam and Blade Dance is all cooldown before you launch into Metamorphosis. So it might, it doesn't simplify the DPS rotation in general for a Demon Hunter. Now it forces you into a Chaotic Transformation playstyle. And, so yeah, basically you no longer get the 20% leech or 25% haste. You eventually get the haste, I believe. later on a future rank. I'm not terribly too sure. But, cooldowns change from 4 minutes to 5 minute cooldown. Cooldowns restored with new ranks. So I think you do get 25% haste. I'm not entirely too sure. Spectral, doesn't really matter. Not really a big change. Flurry Glaive is just an additional target. So you get 2 enemies. Basically restores to what it was. Vengeful Retreat, basically the slows only for Havoc. I don't think it'll be given to Vengeance Demon Hunters. And that's pretty much the main changes. The Metamorphosis losing a lot of its buffs it used to give, especially the Leech. So go to the Covenant abilities. So the Elysian Decree, I played with this on the Alpha. Gets 3 lesser soul fragments. If you got the I-Beam trait, because there is going to be an I-Beam trait, which is going to fuse with Demonic Appetite, or something like that. I'm trying to think which ability it was. That will give you 6 seconds of your I-Beam. And given that I-Beam still works with Demonic, probably a very, very good trait to have to keep in Demonic and basically using the rune to deal with this. I think the rune's a minute cooldown as far as I know. So we just want a Sinful Brand. Probably more for a tanking, I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. It's probably more for tanking. Probably might be used as a tanking cooldown, in my opinion. So if you want to go for a tanking, I think you put this on. That you want this, basically casters might be a big thing that will do a lot of damage to an Mythic class, and a Sinful Brand, essentially you can also spread it to player by hitting all the Metamorphosis key as well. And next one is going to be the Hunt, which is probably going to be the PvP talent for Demon Hunters, is that it just gives you another charge essentially, and basically all your Fury Generator abilities increase by 50%. And also, as you see here, you can teleport behind. The Necrolance to be announced, but I give you guys a heads up that basically you just spawn a demon that you kill, and when you kill that demon, you get an empowered soul fragment, which gets you 60% reduction on your next 6-second reduction cooldown on your Metamorphosis. This would be good if when you kill that demon, that you get the 20% passive bonus to damage, if you guys remember that from Havoc. So basically, another one as well, Havoc has got some changed class highlights. Unending Hatred expands their Fury's capacity, and also a new talent being Essence Break, which replaces, well, I think, where's Essence Break replace in the end? I think it replaces, I'm trying to think which talent it replaces, but either way, there's First Blood still there. I think it replaces one of the useless stats. Essence Break looks pretty sick, actually. That increases your single target quite a bit. Blade Dance and Chaos Strike, that's been the main parts of your single target rotation. And, it's also AoE as well. But I'm wondering if, if we'll overtake First Blood, though. I just wonder. So everything's pretty much the same here. So it's not Fel Devastation. It's meant to be I-Beam here for Havoc. And there's other changes as well, as you see here with Darkness as well. Darkness reduces cooldown 120 seconds, and basically it's still the same. Rank 2 turns back to 3-second cooldown. Blade Dance turns it to a 9-second. Basically, actually the nerf's still there for Chaos Strike. Actually, no, it isn't. And what else? Demon's Bite, still the same. Now it's physical damage. Demonic Wards, now 10% of rank 2. I-Beams, guaranteed critical strikes. And basically, Fel Rush rank 2, you get an additional charge, so you got 2 Fel Rushes now. Now, let's see what else it is. Immolation Aura increases the duration. Mastery, still not as good. And Metamorphosis gives you the haste, but you never get back, as far as I know, you never get back the leech. So as you see here, you get the haste back, but you don't get the leech back. And Vengeful Retreat, okay, it does still remove. And Unrestrained Fury gives you 20 extra Fury, so you've got 120 Fury to deal with. So the challenge, as I said before, Immolation Aura is gone, and now Burning Hatred gives the Fury part of Immolation Aura. Cycle of Hatred, basically, not really worth it. They buff it slightly, but it's not really worth it, Cycle of Hatred. Unless you really want to stay in Metamorphosis 24/7, probably Demonic is a lot better. So Dark Slash has changed to Essence Break. Demonic causes I-Beam to enter for 6 seconds rather than 8. And basically, Demonic Appetite's got Eyes of Rage built into it. And I'm going to say, this is probably going to be one of the staple Demon Hunter specs, that's what I'm going to say. One of the staple Demon Hunter specs. Now, Desperate Instinct has been nerfed as well. That brings Blur up to a 30% damage reduction. Fel Barrage has also been heavily nerfed as well. And I see Fel Barrage never being picked up, in my opinion. Because Fel Barrage used to be only that trait that dealt burst damage to a lot of minions. And now, since it's going to lose that, it probably won't get picked up, in my opinion. I reckon it's just going to be a dead talent. Insatiable Hunger is a bit different. As you see, it does 20% more damage instead. I'm not sure if it's going to be picked up over the first talent of Immolation Aura. We'll see. And Neverwalk, it's been changed to a 2-minute cooldown. So that's a good thing for Neverwalk. So it used to be a 3-minute cooldown for the immunity, and it's still, very good. Exceptionally good ability. And our Soul Rending, it gives you the leech back. If you pick up Soul Rending, it gives you 5% leech and then 25% Metamorphosis. So you have to actually pick Soul Rending to get Metamorphosis leech back again. And I see a lot of leveling specs picking this one up as well. Now let's go to Vengeance Demon Hunter. So now, basically, Fel Devastation is now baseline, which is the AoE ability for Demon Hunters. And Demonic, you can get Demonic to temporarily enter Metamorphosis. I can see why this change was done. The main reason was because Visions of Perfection was basically baseline, which was basically needed for a Vengeance Demon Hunter to stay alive. Otherwise, when you're not in Metamorphosis and you don't have Demonic Armor up or Demonic Spikes, you're basically vulnerable as hell. And now Bulk Extraction as well rips the soul fragment from up to 5 enemies and consumes them. Kind of maybe a replacement for Spirit Bomb, potentially. And Ruinous Bulwark increases the healing devastation does. It converts all overhealing into an absorption shield that lasts for a moderate time. I reckon that would be pretty good, actually. Pretty good, given that Demon Hunters generally spam Soul Cleave quite a bit. So, having Fel Devastation convert all of its healing back into absorb shield is pretty good. And also gives Demon Hunters that ability to, not spike as much as other tanks. If you guys have noticed that Demon Hunters spike a lot if they don't have any absorb shields up. And also replaces the Mort Trinket potentially as well. So as you see here, basically, there's a few abilities here. So I can see that Spirit Bomb is still here. Spirit Bomb's still here. So, you can probably use you can use Bulk Extraction and Spirit Bomb, side by side actually, because Bulk Extraction's at the bottom. There's still Last Resort as well, but Last Resort is pretty decent. And Ruinous Bulwark as well. They've actually replaced a lot of the level 50 talents, mainly because Last Resort was so powerful. So it's actually going to be a ability pick between Art and Defender, basically. Ruinous Bulwark, which is basically just keep yourself, a buffer. And also Bulk Extraction as well, just as a quick heal, quick heal. But I think you've still got Soul Cleave, so it's not, as bad as it is. And Demonic being down here as well as Soul Barrier as well. Soul Barrier, of course, is the 45k Absorb Shield. But I'm feeling that, Demonic will probably be picked up over any of the other talents below. This one will depend on which sigil you want. I see Sigil of Change probably being picked up, as it hasn't changed. I still think the Gluttony build's also disappeared as well, so you can't use Gluttony. So that's why I think, Demonic will be more used. Fracture's still there. And I think, with Spirit Bomb coming down here, I think Spirit Bomb might be picked up as well, instead of Infernal Armor. As you see here, basically since Spirit Bomb has been moved, it makes it a lot easier talent choices towards the end. Because Spirit Bomb wasn't, there usually. I think on the current server, Spirit Bomb's on the same area as Fel Devastation and Spirit Bomb. And now it's been replaced by Void Reaver and Void Reaver, Soul Barrier, and Demonic, which is probably a better choice, given that when you had a choice between Spirit Bomb, Gluttony, and Fel Devastation, and Fel Devastation was just absolute rubbish, so pretty much it was just Spirit Bomb and Gluttony effectively. Now let's go down to the changes. So the parry chance basically has been increased. The tattoos goes to rank 3 for the tank, so you get 15% damage reduction. Just in general. Fel Devastation also heals. Fiery Brand. There's anything else as well, not just the 40% and the fire damage as well. Did they actually get the absorb in the end? No, they didn't put Revel in Pain into Fiery Brand, unfortunately. So rank 3 of that. Infernal Leap goes from 1 charge but 2 charges by rank 2. Fel Blood increases your attack power, and this is one that increases your armor as well. And basically, Demon Hunter form. So Demon form is that, basically, while transformed, I think this is basically business as usual, pretty much. And Metamorphosis has been changed from a 3-minute cooldown to a 5-minute cooldown, but it's restored anyway, as you see here. And Sheer Sigil of Flame changes as well, and it also deals official damage to all enemies affected by Sigil. So basically, it's same as usual, pretty much. Sigil of Misery reduces the cooldown by 90. Not much difference at all, it's still the same. Sigil of Silence, same deal, pretty much the same deal. And Soul Cleave, still the same, hits 5 enemies instead of all. So basically, you can't, pull all enemies in a line and start pulling it. And, expect things to work, basically. But Fel's Devastation can help out as well. So new thing is basically you heal. Basically, Thick Skin is basically, is that we finally got a tanking trait. So we're not just a burst AoE. It's not just a hope and hit and hope class. Throw Glaive basically puts it 3 second. Torment is available in all specs, which is, that's not a change. It's actually available all specs already. So, yeah, I'm not sure what they were pointing at here at all. So basically, Abyssal Strike, you create Sigil Flame when it lands. That's one difference. same deal. If you have quick sigils as the Azerite trait, it's good, but if not, it's not. Every fiery brand spreads to one enemy, burning alive. It's a pretty decent change. Gives you more AoE threat. Demonic, it's in place of Spirit Bomb, as you see here. Fel Devastation is now baseline. Fel Blade, well, it's in place of Razor Spike, but Fel Blade, like I say, now it's not pretty good. They remove Flame Crash, of course, because now it's, of course, baseline, I believe. Yep, baseline in Abyssal Strike. Well, it's part of Abyssal Strike, so you don't need Flame Crash. Fracture, Gluttony, got rid of that. As you can see here, why they got rid of Gluttony? Because they've basically got Demonic instead. So Demonic replaces Gluttony effectively. And Infernal Armor, it's a new thing as well. And in place of Flame Crash, so you can, get the 20% extra armor. It can be used as a pseudo cooldown. Ruinous Bulwark has been removed for Razor Spikes. Also, actually, in place of Void Reaver. And it's just a lot of move around in the Demonic, in the Vengeance spec. Lastly, but not least, is that the PvP thing has been changed. And that's pretty much it for Demon Hunters at the moment. I know it's a bit confusing with the Vengeance spec being completely reworked, but it's probably a good idea given the tier it is at the moment. Like, it's kind of absolute craziness in the Vengeance Demon Hunter where you've got a lot of survival cooldowns you can use, but you can only spec one of them, and that's especially important in that level 108 part with Gluttony, Spirit Bomb, and Fel Devastation. I think overall there's not going to be much change of a playstyle in the Demon Hunters with Havoc. Like, I still think it's going to be like the Eyes of Rage spec still, with Demon Hunters, with, restoring soul fragments, stuff like that, even with the Covenant abilities, because the Kyrian ability really seems to enforce that, like, getting 3 lesser soul fragments to get an extra 6 seconds off your Eye-Beam cooldown, which is massive given that you enter Demonic through it, and also lasts to up to a 15 seconds, so you can reset half your Eye-Beam cooldowns with soul fragments, and it's very unlikely that you're going to hit the 15, but you get awfully close. With Vengeance, though, it's good to see Demonics in there, and Fel Devastation being used a lot more to just get the Demonic aura up. I wonder, how much of a cooldown Fel Devastation has, actually. If it does have a cooldown, Fel Devastation does have a cooldown at the moment. It's a 1 minute cooldown. Ooh, now it'll be a 45-second cooldown, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if, Demonic is going to be a good spec for it, in the end. I think, it might be a different spec for Vengeance, given that Fel Devastation, even though it's baseline, it's a 45-second cooldown, and I'm not sure if it's worth it for Demonic. The only reason why Demonic is worth it overall is because Eye-Beam can be reduced in cooldown. And, I'm not terribly too sure where tanking is going to go. I still think, Last Resort might be used. I think in that tree, we might see a lot of different Vengeance specs. Overall, the Covenants, we'll go back to the Covenants on which ones you should probably pick. I'm going to stay with the, as I scroll up to the Covenants changes. Where are they? With the Covenants, I can see Sinful Brand being used as tanks. 30% reduction casting and attack time for a 1 minute cooldown is immense. Especially since it applies to other people as well, doing shadow damage with Metamorphosis activation. It's absolutely massive. It's like a Thunderclap, an AoE Thunderclap, except it affects casting as well, and it'll probably be a big damage reduction. It'll be a pseudo damage reduction cooldown that it takes less damage. With Demon Hunters, though, I think it's going to be a competition between Necrolord and Elysian Decree, given that Metamorphosis is reduced by 60, but the thing is the Eye-Beam uptime, let's just say Metamorphosis is a 4 minute cooldown, and you get your Eye-Beam up for a certain amount of time. Will it beat, Necrolord? So I think Elysian Decree is 1 minute cooldown. Not sure how long the Necrolord cooldown is, but it's going to get a competition between the two. However, one that provides the most damage, and without, of course, the demon attacking the Demon Hunter, wants to kill it quick. And if it gives it passive or not, that's going to be the main thing for it. I reckon Necrolord will probably be the one to go. The hunt will probably be for PvP Demon Hunters, and hopefully the cost to change Covenants isn't that, isn't that painful. And we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, that'll be it for my guide for my opinions on Shadow Hunters, or not Shadow Hunters, Demon Hunters for Shadowlands. And hope you guys have an amazing day. See you guys later.